Hey friends, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do my April art journal with me video. So I have pulled out a few different supplies to start out with, including my art journal, which I always have linked for you guys down below. I just have this 5.5 by 5.5 square journal, which I really love. I'm also going to be using some papers from the Stamperia Hortensia 8x8 collection today. Just really pretty kind of purple and indigo and blue tones that I just think are really lovely. I also have some little bits of ephemera here that I pulled out, including some little vintage papers and some stickers and stamps and things. And then for my personal item this month, I'm going to be using some stamps from some letters that friends sent, or actually some cards. So I have those to incorporate as well. And then to add a bit of color, I pulled out my Faber-Castell Iridescent Gelatos. I just picked 4 shades that looked similar to the color palette of the pattern paper. I may not use all 4 of these. I typically only use 3 at a time, but all 4 of these went really well and I couldn't decide, so I thought I would just decide in the moment, and maybe I will use all 4. We'll see. So I'm going to just go ahead and jump into things today. I am starting a little bit earlier than I usually do in the day. I wanted to try to get as much of this video filmed if possible, maybe even all of it before my youngest son gets home from high school. He's in like a work school program, so he only goes to school for half of the day and then he comes home early because he goes to work. He's in his senior year. But my son has quite a loud voice. He does not need a microphone to project, so it's a little bit difficult to film when he's in the house. So I am also using washi tape today to seal the spine of my book because it has those perforations. As you guys know, if you've been watching these videos for a while, I like to keep my book all together, so I'm just going to protect that spine with a layer of washi tape, and also just add a little washi tape to the pages themselves to act as a little bit of texture and just to break the blank page. So you know, that's always the hardest part, is just like deciding what you're going to put down and where, and so just trying to eliminate any of the decision making, just kind of start doing it, and then it's already, you know, stuff is already going on, so you can just continue. You don't have to stress about what's going to be first and where it's going to go. So anyway, but yeah, my son is, he is a wonderful human being, but he has a very loud voice, so it's kind of difficult to film out loud if he is home. So I thought I would just get an earlier start today and see if I can get this done before he gets here. Also, it's a really beautiful day outside, kind of cold but really sunny, and the 10-day forecast is like all rain after today, so I'm hoping if I get done early enough that I'll be able to go sit outside and enjoy it a bit. Most likely I'll need a blanket to sit outside, but that's alright. I can take a book out and bundle up and sit with the dog and just kind of enjoy a little bit of the sunshine before we get all the rain that is coming. We've had so much rain lately, so this is really a nice little reprieve today from all of that. Alright, so I think that's good. We've got some stuff going on. I'm just going to grab my scissors and just trim off any excess at the top and the bottom here, just so it doesn't kind of seal up my book together, you know, kind of stick to the pages before and after it, and get those kind of stuck together. Alright, so let's just jump in here with some of this ephemera and start sticking some of this stuff down as well. So let me grab my glue stick, and I think I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. This first, and I'm just using my Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength which I have used the entire time that I've been art journaling for the past year and a couple months now, and I really do enjoy it. Had no issues with anything coming up in all of that time, so seems to be working really well. So how have you guys been this month? Please leave me a comment down below and let me know what you've been getting up to. It is April, so I am starting to have a little bit of hope that nicer weather is going to be on the horizon. I think it's possible that the snow might be over. We just did have snow very recently that it fell and really came down, covered everything again. Everything was completely white again, maybe like a week ago, but it has melted again. So I'm hoping that that was the last, but you can never be sure. There have been a few years where we've gotten snow into early May, so yeah, you just never know, but that's what it's like living up here in northwestern PA. It just is always, you know, we're at the whim of Mother Nature. So maybe we'll just tear this down a bit. It seems like a really big chunk. There we go. So I don't have any flowering things in my yard yet, but my lilacs are budding, so that's exciting. Lilacs are my absolute favorite flower, and I have 6 different varieties. I have what I call my lilac grove along the side of my house, and that's always like one of my favorite parts of spring is when the lilacs bloom, because there's just no smell on earth that is more beautiful than that. It is just my favorite. So I'm very excited to see those in blossom this year. My peonies are coming up. They are coming up very quickly. No buds at all yet on those, but the stalks are getting tall, so they should be coming. I'm excited for those. I also have a rhododendron, but it never really has done very well. It's in a spot where the snow kind of falls off the roof and lands on it all winter long, and so it just has never gotten very big, and it doesn't get a ton of blooms. It looks pretty sad, so I don't know what that's going to do this year, if we'll get any flowers on that at all. Right now it doesn't have anything resembling blossoms yet, so we'll see. But I'm very excited for flowering season. It just makes me so happy when everything starts blooming. No blooms on my apple tree yet either. Nothing like that has happened yet. But I also have this one. This is not a real stamp. This is a sticker stamp, but I thought that would be fun to add, and it also is in the color palette that I'm going for here in these blue and purple tones, so I thought I would incorporate this one. Maybe we'll stick that one right there. Maybe right there. Add that. So I would love to hear how things are going where you are. Is anything blossoming and growing in your area? I know a lot of my friends to the south and to the west already have a lot of things in bloom from different Instagram posts and YouTube videos that I've been watching. I know that there's a lot of things blooming there, and I'm quite jealous, but you know, it is what it is. It'll come here. It just takes a little while. All right, maybe some of these floral images as well. These little washi tape stickers. They're always fun to add because they're transparent as well, so you can see through them to whatever is underneath. I always have a hard time getting them off the backing sheet. There we go. Right there. Okay. And I've got another one here. That one is tearing, and that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and tear it so I can use it in more than one place. Maybe we'll put it right up on that. And then maybe down here. Why not? And some of that stuff may get covered up, and that's totally fine. I think that's all I'm going to add for now. I'm going to save the rest of this stuff and see how the scene starts to come together, but I'm going to flip through the pattern paper now and kind of see what I might want to use. So I was kind of thinking about, I really like this window, but I just did a window for February, so I don't know that I want to do that again so soon. I think this bird cage is also nice, especially since the bird is outside of the cage. But, oh, I do like this. There's a recipe here written in German for coffee and apples. It's a little bit hard to read just because of the script, but I'm not even sure that it's an actual recipe, but anyway, that might be fun to incorporate. And actually, it's on the back of this page, which was the one that I was kind of drawn to. So I might try to tear that out and use that. And then I also really liked this lady. I thought she might be fun. She's a scrap from last year's. I'm not sure what, I think it might have even been April. Was it April that I used these papers for, with a paper napkin as my focal point? But I just used like other pieces that were around her. I didn't actually use her, but I thought today I might. And I might even incorporate this kind of circle here. I'm not sure how it will all fit since this is a much smaller piece, but I thought I might try to do that. So maybe I'll go ahead and tear that one out as well. And we'll just start playing around and see what happens. So, okay. I'm going to tear this out. So I can keep that. So I don't know where that's going to go yet, but we'll just hang on to that. If I don't use it today, I could always use it for something else. So I just wanted to kind of rescue it before it gets torn to bits. But I really, really, oh, here is some of it too. It's also in the background of this damask print. So that's cool. I'm just going to start tearing some of this down because I really do like this. And I think I want to incorporate a little bit of that. So maybe remember, as I always tell you guys, if you, depending on the way you tear your paper, it's going to depend on whether you get this white core on the piece that you're using or whether you will not have any white core on the piece you're tearing. So if you tear towards yourself, you're going to get the white core on the left. If you tear away from yourself, you're going to get the white core on the right. So that's just something to keep in mind. So thinking something like that over there, maybe. And let's take a little bit. We could kind of mimic it over on this side. Kind of like that. Let's see about this. You know what? I think I'm going to try to trim some of this out and just see how it looks. But I'm going to cut that out with scissors, so I'll do that off screen. Alright, so I have trimmed that out. I did have to cut the hydrangeas off of that because it was kind of like hanging way off the page. So I may use those in another area, but so far I kind of like how that's looking. But I definitely want to layer some things underneath, like down in this little corner here. I'm just going to add this little scrap and just have something that's a little bit layered behind. I think that would be nice. Maybe like maybe a little bit of this as well. Just trying to add little, you know, pops of color around and tie in that color scheme. I'm going to tear off a little bit more down here, and then I can go ahead and add this big piece. I don't know why I really love these kind of lavenders and purple shades for spring. I mean, I love them all times of the year, but it just makes me think of them in the springtime especially, I guess. Get that right up there. Make sure that these are straight on there. I'll go ahead and commit to that. What I really love about art journaling is that I've kind of gotten into this rhythm of not overthinking, and I am a major overthinker in real life. It's just the way I'm built. I just overthink everything. So having this space where it feels safe to go against my nature in a good way, I find just really freeing. Not that. Let's see. Maybe some in here. I kind of like it there. Got a lot of empty space over here to work with. I don't know what's going to go there yet, so just start filling it up. Stick that there. And I'm pretty sure I like that there, so I'll go ahead and add that one as well. Yeah, I haven't had a whole lot going on this month. It's been a much quieter month, no travel, although I did book some travel this month. We booked some summer travel. We're going to be going back to Germany this summer to visit my husband's family. My husband's family is all in Germany. That's where he's from. That's where we were married. That's where all of our children were born. So it really is like our second home. And my husband and I were back a few years ago, but my children haven't been back in like 7 years. So the whole family is going, and we are very excited about that. The kids are very excited to be able to get to go back and see everyone and just kind of explore. I think I'm going to trim off this little bit here. It doesn't seem to kind of fit in this. And maybe I can use it somewhere else, but I think that's going to go somewhere over there. Thinking somewhere over here, but I want to put something down in this corner as well. So let's see what we've got to work with. I also have this hydrangea that I could cut out. Maybe some of this corner. I really like that darker. I think it's always nice to have a bit of darker color on the borders of things. Just kind of helps frame things up. Yeah, I think I'm going to like that. I'm just going to cut down, or not cut down, but tear down the edges so that it's a little bit softer looking. And then I can add that. So yeah, we're going to Germany this summer. Very excited. I have a couple of littler events coming up. I'm going to just be traveling a couple hours away to go to some author events. I'm going to do one in May and one in June, so I'm very excited about that. I have never been to author events except for at writing conferences when it was like the guest speaker, so this is going to be like my first time just going all on my own, and I'm very, very excited. It's been years since I've been to anything like that, and I don't know what it is, but I always get so tongue-tied. I get really nervous about meeting people who've been influential in my life, and like I just can't seem to like get a word out. So hopefully that doesn't happen if I get a chance to meet any of them, but I'm very, very excited. I think it's going to be super fun. I'm going to see Patty Callahan Henry in May, who wrote some really good books, Surviving Savannah, let's see, Once Upon a Wardrobe, which I really loved, Becoming Mrs. Lewis. And then I'm also going to see Kristen Harmel in June, and she wrote one of my favorite books of all time, The Forest of Vanishing Stars. So I'm going to see both of them talk about their new upcoming books. So that will be really exciting. Patty Callahan's is The Secret Book of Flora Lee, and Kristen Harmel's is The Paris Daughter. So very excited to read both of those, and really excited to hear them talk about the books and their process and all of that. I'll add this little bit of dark down here as well. I'm going to add some of this on this side as well. Peel that back up a tiny bit and tuck that under. Oh, I also did start writing again, for those of you who've been following that journey. Writing has been like my #1 passion since I was very young, since I was 12 years old. I never ever wavered from that. And then during the pandemic, I just stopped. It just got to be too much to try to create other worlds when the world we were living in already was so scary, and I just, a lot of reasons. I just kind of gave up. So it's been 2.5 years since I've written a word of fiction. I still journal every single morning, but I hadn't written fiction since December of 2020. But just recently I started again, just working on some little short stories, and it felt really good. It felt really good to be writing again. I didn't know if I would ever get back to it, so it's been really lovely doing that. I don't have a lot of free time though, so it's been difficult to try to fit it in because I'm most creative in the morning, but in the morning is also when I film my YouTube videos. So I kind of have to choose how, you know, which creative endeavor I want to do. But I've been trying to do at least a little bit each day. Not every day have I done it. I haven't been consistent yet, but it is still brand new. Like, it's only been a few days. But I'm tentatively excited about it, and hoping that it's not just a fluke and that I'm going to be able to be consistent with it. So I'm going to pause for just a second and see where I want to go next. Okay, I found this like darker blue strip on the piece of pattern paper that had this piece on it, so that might be fun to add a little extra contrast. Maybe I'll put that in 2 different places. And just add that. But yeah, other than that, it's been kind of a quieter, more uneventful month. Yeah, not a ton going on. But I would love to hear what you guys have been up to, because I'm sure you guys have some stories for me with it being spring and just having been Easter. So make sure you leave me those comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have been getting up to. Has anybody been working out in their garden yet? It's still too early here for that. Normally we don't. They say not to start that until like around Memorial Day, so we've still got a little bit of time to go before it'll be gardening season. But my husband did build me a second box. I have a container garden. I've had one for a few years, and he just built me a second one. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to go to the gardening store and kind of start picking out what I want to grow this season. I always look so forward to that, so that'll be exciting, but I still have a little ways to go before I can. My battery just died, but I was saying I still have a little while to go before I can start planning that out. But I'm excited for it. Yeah, I didn't have too much of a plan this time. Not that I usually do with art journaling, but sometimes I kind of go into it having more of an idea than I did this time. This time I kind of really just jumped in without thinking too hard about it. And that's always nice too. It's kind of just fun to see where the page takes you. And hopefully it works out. Hopefully we end up with something that looks nice. I'll just add a little extra glue under there now since I've pulled it up a couple of times. I did cut out another piece of hydrangea there because this one kind of cuts off because it was at the bottom of the page, so I thought I might layer another one on top. Also give it a little bit more of a dimensional look that way. But I still, well, I can probably commit to those now, honestly. Let's go ahead, why not? So I have been reading a ton lately. I think I've read 56 books so far this year. My goal for the year was 100, and it's not even the end of April, so I think it's safe to say that I will have no problem hitting that goal. Since I'm already halfway there, over halfway there. Yeah, I just have really been enjoying immersing myself in stories, and I've always been a big reader, like always, but when my kids were young, it did get harder to have the time to read. Actually, when they were younger, I used to do what I called quiet reading time, especially in the summer, where we would all have to pick a book and go to a quiet place, and I would set a timer for half an hour and we would all read, and that really helped because not only did it calm them down, but it gave me a little bit of quiet time as well. But once they got too old to do that and they were, you know, more active and in sports and stuff like that, it became harder and harder to get those quiet times, you know, to read. But now that my kids are older and they all have their own jobs and their own vehicles, I don't have to chauffeur anyone around anymore. None of them are playing sports anymore, so I don't have games I have to go to. It's really helped me be able to read a lot more. And since I wasn't writing for a while, I've been just immersing myself in other people's stories instead for a long while now, and really enjoying that. I also have this little bit here. I think I might try to add this in that gap right there because I had to cut this section out of that, so we have some bumps. Just trim off a little bit of this. Just figuring out how I want that to go. Maybe up like that. Stick that right there. I think I might like to break up like this patch here and this patch here with a little extra color. So I'm just gonna tear a few like thinner strips here. And tuck that in right there. There we go. Maybe something like that. I also like the little bit of text that adds. It's different than the other texts that are in here. I am gonna end up saving this for something else, I think, because it's just too big. Although it would have looked kind of pretty back here. Let me just see if I can tear that up. Maybe if I tore it, maybe if I made it smaller. Yeah, I kind of do like that in there. Okay, well, let's add it now. Now we've torn it down to fit, so we might as well add it. Well, that actually makes sense. Since we booked our trip to Germany this month, we'll go ahead and put this German recipe on the page. There we go. Something like that. And then I'll just add a little extra glue to this piece. And smooth that back down over top. All right, so now I had these little butterfly stickers, and I wonder if it would be nice to add those in. That would be cool, huh? Maybe one down here. And one up there. Yeah, I think I like that. All right, so let's go ahead and add those as well. Like that. Okay. And then we'll take this purple one. Add that one down there. And this one will kind of help hide the fact that her little crown, her ivy crown, is torn up there. There we go. Yeah, I actually really like that. All right, so I'm going to go wash my hands, and then we'll grab some white gesso and start to just incorporate things a little bit better. All right, so while I was cleaning off the little scraps from my desk, I actually decided to incorporate that piece that I had torn off the recipe card. I thought that might be pretty to add a little bit here and there, so I went ahead and tore that up in a couple extra pieces and popped that on. And now I'm gonna grab some gesso. I am using some white gesso from Pro Art, but any white gesso will work. And I'm just gonna pick up the smallest little amount and start to add that here and there. Kind of just pounce it and blur some of the edges on these papers where they meet up and just make them look a little bit more incorporated. So yeah, I'm very excited to go back to Germany. I love Germany. I think it's such a beautiful country and so full of history and culture. It's going to be really, really nice. We're going to go to the Alps with my brother-in-law and his family, and my sister-in-law and her family. I've never been to the Alps, so that'll be fun. And yeah, just to enjoy hanging out with family again, and sitting in the beautiful countryside and eating good German food, and all the different cakes and things that they have, although I have to go easy on it. But it'll be fun to just be able to have a little bit here and there. All the fun little shops and all of that stuff. I really love Germany. It is, like I said, it's like a second home to us because we lived there for several years when we were first married, and yeah, I just have always really loved it there. And my husband is from the countryside, so it's very peaceful, very rural, and it'll be nice to just have those quieter days and get to see people that we haven't seen in a long time, you know, all of that. So very, very excited on it. I need to start brushing up on my German again because I don't use it that often, you know, in my regular life in America. So sometimes my husband and I will speak German to each other when we're out, you know, and we just want to have a conversation and don't want everybody to hear what we're saying, so we'll just switch to German a little bit. But I don't think I'm going to do too much more. I think I'm kind of happy with that. I don't really want to get the white on the butterflies. I think things look pretty well incorporated here. Since I used some bigger pieces, you know, with the girl and this background piece and the hydrangeas and that, there's not as much to kind of soften the edges on for this one. It's nothing that's really glaring at me that really needs, you know, much more attention. So I think that's probably it. Just maybe soften this a little bit, but I don't want to make her face look hazy. So okay, I'm gonna clean off my fingers and grab some clear gesso and we will move on. All right, I'm going to pop some parchment paper in here just to keep the pages separated a bit so that they don't stick together. I'm going to add my clear gesso. I'm just going to use my usual Dina Wakley Media clear gesso, and that will just kind of seal everything together and prep it for the next step. So I'm just going to do a very thin coat. But the food that I am most excited to eat in Germany, it's actually one of my favorite things to eat ever, and I've never found it in the States. It's called a Döner kebab. It's actually Turkish food. I love them. I'm serious. Like if I had access to them, it's something I would eat every single week. Like I love it so much. It's the closest that I can think of to something we have here is like the Greek hero, the meat that's roasted on a spit and then it's put on a pita with veggies. It's not the same thing, but that's kind of like the closest way to describe it to someone who's never had one. Yeah, it's so good. I'm so excited to have one again. We tried to go to a place out in Portland when we went there for our anniversary trip last fall. It said that it had dinner kebabs, but then when we got there, it was nothing like the dinner kebabs in Germany. It was still good food, but it was not the same at all. So I'm very excited to get to have that again. I'm going to heat set this with my heat gun and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I decided that I didn't really like the way this paper was torn on this side. So I went through the paper pad and found some smaller little bits of hydrangeas and trimmed those out. So I think I'm going to like recreate something trailing down on this side here. So I'm going to start up here with these vines and kind of mimic the way that it's trailing down here. And let's see, maybe we'll add in the blue. Where'd my pink one go? Oh, right here. Something like that. We'll just tuck that in. I wanted to add in some pink too because there's a pink one over here, so I wanted to kind of just break it up a bit. So we'll just add that one maybe right there. There we go. It's not perfect, but I like it. I like the symmetry of it coming down both sides of her face. I think it just looks a little bit more finished. All right, let's bring in some color here. Maybe we'll start with this pink. This is called Rose Quartz. So maybe we'll just add a little bit in a few places here. And then maybe we'll do the blue sapphire next. That one's quite dark, so maybe just a few little touches. Especially like where the blue pieces are to kind of reinforce that a bit. Okay. And let's see, maybe some of this. This one is amethyst. Soften some of this white here as well with that stamp. You know what, maybe we'll just add a little bit in here as well, just to kind of darken up the edges a bit, just to add a little extra dimension there. Okay, I think I won't use the green. I think I'm just going to stick to those 3 shades there. Alright, so I am going to just flip through and see what stands out to me. I think I'm going to go for something kind of simple today. I'm going to take a couple of these littler ones. Maybe just these 3. I think I want this one to be down here. Be your beautiful self. And then maybe over here. Be brave, be authentic, be your beautiful self. I think that's good. I'll grab a black gel pen and just kind of trace around the edges of that. Just make it look a little more hand-drawn and incorporated into the rest of the design. And let's see, maybe I'll just outline a few of these flowers as well, just to add that black gel pen in a couple of places. Like, not all of them, but just a few. Maybe this one down here. Like I said, just a few touches here and there. It doesn't have to be everywhere. That's probably good. Okay. All right. Well, let me grab my date stamp. Using some Ranger Archival ink. And today is April 27th, 2023. And I think I'm going to put it just like right here. So let me ink that up. All right. I think I would like just a few little black splashes though to finish this off. So let me grab my black ink, and I am going to cover her face because I don't want the black ink on there, but I'm just going to use some Black Soot Distress Oxide ink and press that onto a block, and then I will add a little bit of water to that. I can pick it up with a paintbrush. Just that's probably good. Oh, now she has a beauty mark. Look at that. Okay. I am just dabbing a little bit of that up so it's not quite so dark in a few places. Fades a little bit more into the background. Okay, we'll leave some of them darker just for difference. But that is going to finish off my April Art Journal with Me page. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had so much fun hanging out with you guys and chatting. And make sure you leave me your comments down below. Let me know how you liked it, but also let me know what you've been working on lately. I would love to hear from you. Alright, thank you guys so much again, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye-bye.